On the right foot, want to continue teaching you guys. Physical training is of some value, but training in godliness has its value for all things, for all times, right? So we see the value of playing basketball together, and we even transfer that into our life skills, right? Our relationships, dealing with people, dealing with competitive environments, winning, losing, sharing, things like that. Not too far removed from elementary school lessons, we get to practice those on the playground or on the basketball court, and then we get to apply them to our life. So the same is true with what we want to do in here, so we want to hone in a little bit, and we want to highlight this spiritual principle, right? These biblical principles that guide our lives, that are going to be valuable for now and for later. So tonight we had a former NFL guy here. Brent was here, and he took off. He had to go.
Former or
Oh, he's still trying. He's still trying to get back in the game. But y'all were mesmerized, right? Y'all looking at his shorts. You want to ask all kinds of questions about him. And if he had been in the NFL, it would have just been some random guy. It would have just been another random guy. You wouldn't want to know anything about him. What is it about someone who plays in the NFL that draws our attention to them and piques our interest? What is that?
skills?
Skills. Okay, so what kind of skills do they have? Whatever they do, but it's the best, right? They're the best of the best. What else? Why else is that such an attractive person? They play on TV.
You can get advice from this, son.
You can get advice. And what kind of advice can you get from someone who played in the NFL? How to get to the pros, right? So you want to learn what they did. Hey guys, pay attention. You want to learn what they did to get to where they got. Because where they got was the highest level. Where Brent got is the highest level that he could possibly go in a game of football. That's where he was. And that's where he's trying to get back. He's going to start training with her, continue training, and trying to get back into that deal. Back into being the best. But you guys want to talk to me. Y'all have an interest because you want to know, what did you do to get here? What did you do to get to this place, the highest level that your skills would take you? Right? Don't we want to know that secret? Yeah. So that we can do what? Do it. We want to apply it. My dad had a friend growing up, or when I was growing up, my dad had a friend, his name was Bob Gary. He was full of these one-liners, full of these short bits of advice. And this one isn't so short, but it's a great bit of advice I want to share with you guys right now. It says, it's what you do now, when you don't have to do anything, that makes you what you want to be when it's too late to do anything about it. Brent didn't just wake up in the NFL. And he didn't spend all of his time on Xbox. He didn't spend all his time chasing girls. He didn't spend all of his time sitting on the couch, waiting to get good, waiting for the opportunity, waiting for someone to knock on his door and say, hey, would you like to play in the NFL? He didn't wait for that, did he? He poured himself into training. He committed himself to school. He committed himself to a nutrition plan, getting to sleep on time, right? He appreciated the value of his parents, being twice his age or 25 years older than him and giving him advice. He was taking that advice. And after all that work, after doing those things that he did when he didn't have to do anything, those were the things that made him what he wanted to be when it was too late to do anything about it, right? So in the same way, I ask you guys, if y'all are so interested in him, how much more are you interested in yourself? Well, you get to see him once a week if he starts hanging out with us, right? But you see yourself every day. You get to look at yourself in the mirror every day. You get the opportunity to obey your parents every day. You get the opportunity to commit yourself to school every day. You get the opportunity to give it the extra set, the extra rep in the weight room, the extra lap around the track, the extra energy that you invest into this thing that's so important to you. Right? That's what you guys are going to do if you're going to want to get to the next level. It's what you do now. You don't have to do anything that makes you what you want to be when it's too late to do anything about it. Now, I know Fasu's taking a trip this weekend. He's going on a recruiting trip. It's kind of a big deal. Right? And we know Fasu. We know he's committed himself to training. He's committed. Yeah, he's not perfect. But he's committed himself to training. He's committed himself to learning. He's committed himself to school. He's not disqualified from going and playing college football. Good for you. Congratulations. And I don't know what's going to happen. And I don't know what's going to happen with your recruitership. Hold up. I don't know what they're going to offer you, and I don't know what the other schools are going to offer you, but you have put yourself in a position by being diligent. We're going to use the word diligent. There's a Bible verse I want to refer to right now in Proverbs. And Proverbs aren't promises of God. These are principles for life. Wise, age-old adages that have lasted from ancient times until now. They're just as true today as they were then. I want you guys to remember this. It says, the sluggard craves and gets nothing, but the desires of the diligent are fully satisfied. A sluggard craves and gets nothing. A sluggard is on the couch playing Xbox, wishing he could do what his thumbs are making the guy on the screen do. But when it comes time for him to get on the field, the thumbs are the only thing that's coordinated about that guy. His feet don't know what to do when he gets out on the field. He knows what he wants to do in his mind, and his thumbs can make it happen on a gaming machine. All right, you good? Okay, but you guys see that. So again, the point: you're not going to get there by getting on the couch, right? A sluggard craves. He desires, he wants, but he gets nothing because he doesn't do anything. But the desires of the diligent are fully satisfied. Brent, Fasu, me, Garrett, some of these guys that I know are proven in their sport, proven athletes, proven to have committed them. I've known Garrett since 8th grade, 9th grade. It's a long time. He's old now. But he committed himself to training. I know. I have the scar right here. Because one of these days, he was a little bit lazy. You remember that day? He was a little bit lazy on his training. He's a huge receiver. You know, how tall are you? 6'4"? 6'4". Runs in high school, you run a 4.5. What was your vert? 36, 37. Just an incredible athlete. Garrett, he's going to be able to do whatever he wanted to do. And I wanted to see Garrett get there. So I'm like, hey man, let's get on the field. He's a receiver, right? So he can jump out the gym and he'll be mossing people all day long. So when I'm like, okay, well, Garrett, you got to get off the line. So we work some of these things, slapping hands and coming over the top and working some, different release drills. Well, he was kind of lazy on one of them. He slapped my hands this way. And instead of coming over the top, he just kind of came like this. And his elbow went right here in my eye, and I was bleeding, and it was terrible. Thank you. But Garrett was out there. Garrett was out there on the track. He was working. So you guys get the point, right? The desires of the diligent are fully satisfied. A sluggard craves and gets nothing. So you need to decide what you want to be, what you want to do. Do you want to be in awe of guys like Brent and hope you get a pair of their shorts that have Tampa Bay Buccaneers on them? Or do you want to get your own pair? Now, I don't want to create any delusions that you guys or everyone in here is going to play professional sport. It's not going to work out that way for us. I've seen some of you guys play. Seriously, though. But it's true. But not all you guys are going to play. But what's the highest level that you can play at? With your build, with your height, your weight, your frame, your athleticism, your speed. What are you going to pour into playing at the highest level that you can play? And if you don't, it's a shame. I know guys that have committed themselves to working out, and they're great athletes, but they are disqualified from going to college because they do not get it done in the classroom. So they can't play at the highest level that they can play at. And some of you guys haven't even played, this year because of grades and some other situations. A sluggard craves and gets nothing, but the desires of the diligent are fully satisfied. Now, guys, I'm saying, hear what I'm saying here. I'm not saying y'all are all going to play in the NFL. If y'all all have these desires, they are all going to end up there. Okay? What I am saying is that it's a principle for life. Think about qualifying yourself to do this thing. You're going to have a much better chance to do it if you put in the work, right? Y'all get it?
Yes, sir.
Now I'm moving to this topic here. I'm talking about on the Jesus front, on the spiritual front, in your spiritual walk with your spiritual maturity. You can't just desire to be in heaven, sit on the couch, and then be given over to your depraved mind and your sinful desires, the lusts of the flesh. You can't just say, I'm good with God and hope to be good with God because that's what you want. There's a walk there. There's a seeking. Now, heaven isn't for people who are perfect. Because no one's perfect. If it was only reserved for the perfect, no one would get there. Right?
That's right.
But for those who seek, they are the ones who will find. And for those who find, they are the ones who will know God. And if you know God, you love God. And if you love God, you're going to desire God. And if you desire God, you're going to pursue God. If you pursue God, you're going to find God. If you find God, you're going to know God. If you know God, you're going to love God. Right? It's this beautiful cycle. I've been talking about this for a couple weeks because I love it. I don't want anything to derail me from that. But in the same way, you guys have to get into that cycle. You can't just look at this wheel spinning over here and be like, oh, that's nice. And I'd like to get to heaven. Because heaven is what? A perfect place. So that means every desire that I have now, I'm going to get in heaven. It doesn't necessarily work like that either. I had somebody ask me when he said, I love smoking weed.
Who said
I'll never tell his name, but he's like, I love smoking weed. That, a day spent smoking weed is perfect for me. And if heaven is perfect, there's no one in this room. If heaven is perfect, then it's going to be a place where I can smoke. Is that what heaven is?
No.
Okay, well, what about, I like having sex. Is that just going to be a place of perpetual sex?
No.
Is it going to be a place? What else do you guys, gaming is just PlayStations with screens bigger than the clouds? What is heaven? Is it a perfect place? Why is it perfect?
Because you enjoy God's God is there.
Okay. Okay. So we've got some ambiguous answers to what heaven is and what perfection is. But I do want to tell you guys this. In the same way with the lesson, we'll talk about heaven. We'll talk about what heaven looks like. We'll talk about relationship with God and what that looks like. But I want to tell you, related to the athletic thing is, the desires of the diligent are fully satisfied. If you commit yourself to training, if you commit yourself to grades, if you commit yourself to discipline, if you commit yourself to nutrition, taking care of your body and doing these things, you're going to put yourself in a position to play at the highest level that you can play. In the same way, I want you to pour yourself into the spiritual pursuit. We learn